All right, here we go again. Yeah, I didn't realize I had the Book of Mormon thing on there. I was doing some Book of Mormon stuff. I didn't realize it was still on there. But so it's weird because this is the last day with this group of these two missionaries before the new ones come in, and she was like, "We're going to read I think Mosiah 3. The Book of Mosiah is from the Book of Mormon or chapter, whatever, chapter of Mosiah, whatever it's called. Or I guess no, it's Mosiah chapter 3. So it says this angel, it's a narrative, and the guy's speaking, and he's like, and this angel said, "Awake," and I awoke. I'm like, that's so funny because I always do that. That's what God told me to do, is wake people up, awaken. It's just so weird. Should have been in the Mormon church probably years ago, or at least some church. They're so evil for what they did. They tortured me out of the church, is what they did. And they paid some church members, and some thought they were doing something that they weren't doing. It was something different. Right? It's a scam, pretty much. Scam investigation to get the church to help them out. Right. But it doesn't lead where they say it leads. Like to we'll release him and then he'll be part of your church and we won't bother you anymore. But they'll never let that happen. They're in this church probably somewhere. Right? May have already been there before I got there. But I'm sitting there and I'm doing traveling mercies because one missionary is going home, the other missionary's moving on to wherever, probably Missouri somewhere. So that's where the other LDS church is, be like an enemy territory. It's like the like one that broke off from the main church. But I was saying, well, I know in the churches I we call it traveling mercies. I pray for both of you and I said your new assignments, and I'm like, and it just popped up that they're both angels, and they're here. And then the one says, I'll probably only email you once in a while, but can I get your email? And I'll keep in touch. And I'm like, I knew it. Because when you're on Earth, and you're awakened, like if you know like the stuff I know, you sometimes get this idea like, do I do that person from somewhere else? I knew she was somebody. It's like I'll see her in the afterlife. Right. Thanks, Larry. So I was in shock when she said it because I kept looking at her like, why do I see? Because I see her, you know what I mean? And it's not just, but it's like eternally see her, right? So they're both angels. Because when I said assignments, it was like, I'm like, they just look on their face like they didn't know what I was talking about, like that part of it. Right. Oh my god. Now there's a lot of angels on the planet, I think, or a good number. They're in the bodies. Right. But a lot don't wake up. Some are like drag queens. Because that's how Satan plays it. Right. They're not in trouble because they're just here. They're not, they didn't have to come here. They came here to do work. Right. Thank you, Larry. May not even supposed to be in their body. I can't tell you where they were or not. But it's pretty weird. So the angel said to me, awake, and I awoke. And I reminded them, so you have to because I tell them stuff. I said, you remember, God, this world blinds their minds lest they see the glorious gospel of Jesus Christ. So you have to unblind their mind. You have to wake them up. You have to, pray for them or move a healing. Right. See? Yeah, I had a lot of information to give. They killed me. Satan hates me. Right. That's why people in church hate me. Because they're all Satan. Thank you, Mary. Nah, I should have went to Salt Lake City from Santa Fe like 2014 or 15. I just couldn't get there. Maybe I don't know. Actually, I don't know what the date was. It was 2016 probably, right? Right. I definitely would have lived a different life. I don't think they'd have did to me what they did in Oklahoma. That's probably about 2015, 16. Right. Thanks, Larry. No, actually, because when Ted Cruz was running, did I actually? Maybe I did already. I don't have to go back through when I started with the BYU videos and stuff, the music videos. Yeah, I would have had a completely different life. Right? My tissues are still tight on the right side. Also around the eyes. I got to try to stretch all this. Yeah, so hopefully they have a way to like seek peace in New Jersey. We got some power in New Jersey. They owe me. I healed a lot of New Jersey. I healed Newark. I healed Edison, and then of course Mount Laurel, Cherry Hill. That was a hard. They treated me pretty shabbily down south, South Jersey. So I passed out. I don't know why she called me Padre. I was healing Newark, and I passed out on a row home at a row home like stoop. I just picked this one and just fell. Ugh. I was tired. I've been healing the city all day, and again, I was still healing from all that happened in the Marshal Service and everything. And I healed the city. I healed Edison probably the night before, and I passed. Kind of just dropped down on the stoop, and this Spanish woman comes home with a kid, and her kid's like, and then the mother's like, Padre, Padre. She called me like father. So I don't know if they saw me healing the city or the neighborhood, or she just said that so the kid wouldn't worry. I guess that kid's a man now, right? Who knows? Could have been a single woman. I didn't get a blip to say, "Hey, you want a date?" Right? Could have been like the woman I could have married, right? Correct. That's how it works. But if you don't get the blip, you don't get the blip. Right? Like I lived in Newark, or she could have moved with me somewhere. Right? Thanks, Mary. I healed New York City. Right? That's where they got me. They got me good in New York City. That's where they started drugging me heavy. Then I went back to the apartment. I picked up the phone, and I was drugged. So handset back when you had the handset, So I grabbed the handset. And I was like, whoa. And then it just from there, next thing I knew, I was in Omaha. Dude walks up to me. He goes, I'm getting ready to drink my tea. He goes, go back to the crazy hospital. So he wanted me to think it was in the tea. It wasn't in the tea. It was probably on my door handle or something in the car. Because I was okay till I got in the car. And then I was like, whoa. I drove a little bit more and I was all screwed up. Right. Couldn't get back to my hotel. If I could get back to my hotel, I'd have been okay. Right. Right. Couldn't find my hotel. I couldn't get the mind to get to my hotel. Jesus was there in the spirit again. I was drugged, so whatever, but I could see Jesus and he was crying and had his hands in my head trying to heal me. At least that's what I saw. He was standing like on the ground, but through the floorboards in the car, had his hand in my head. They were operators. The guy was an operator, no doubt. Right. Wasn't like a hippie or anything like that. It was like, like me. Law enforcement guy or something like that. Right. Thanks, Sherry. Thank you. She is in life. She's in life. She should be in life. Doesn't necessarily have, it's not just a she, it's a whole bunch of people, actually. But there is a she, I understand. 100% Larry. Thank you, Larry. Well, like I said, you do it in New Jersey first. Just do it in New Jersey. Get that thing handled. Then Pam Bondi can pick up a memorandum of understanding with the House and the Senate on how to approach uh, any type of interaction with immigration-related facilities. And then, of course, if there's some other situation, I mean, you can't bless them interfering with your arrests and stuff like that. But who knows what you can get to, right? Thank you, Larry. That way you don't get to that. They call you. You say, okay, and don't be a jerk. Schedule it. I mean, maybe they want it that day. They have to wait a day or two sometimes, but don't be a jerk or make them wait a week or something. When you can do it in a day or two, right? No, because you don't want friction. We want to get rid of friction. Correct. Blessed are the peacemakers. No, I didn't know I was going to go on the mayor's. I didn't even know if the voice was the mayor. I just thought it was a voice. You see, voice it's the mayor's inside. Like he's big, so he's got his thing goes around and connects to people, right? His self connects to people. Yeah. Thanks, Larry. Not you probably connected with me because he feels bad about he gets to charge his job and she still has a charge, so seeking some sort of way to fix that, right? I just don't think it was wise to do it that way. I understand what you're trying to do, but I think you could tell him, we're going to have to work something out. We're going to have to start charging people, right? And then you have the case sitting there, but you wait and see what you can do, right? Now, I tried to get you all to stop charging one another years ago. I mean, you don't be corrupt, but try to work things out, and right. Mm-hmm. That I ate a whole thing of ice cream. But when it's only 1.5 grams of saturated fat per serving, and there's only 9 servings, that's not too bad actually. When you consider all the ice cream, it's good for the stomach, is what it is. Right, cools the stomach. Right. Not to mention delicious. I've been known to eat a lot of ice cream when I buy it. It doesn't last, so I buy the lowest saturated fat. 1.5 grams of saturated fat per serving is amazing for ice cream. Turkey Hill is amazing what they do with ice cream. Because some's 2 grams. They have a couple that are 2 grams. Right. I think it's chocolate peanut butter or something like that. I think it's like that's 2 grams of fat, which is amazing for peanut butter, Right. And then their butter pecan, I think, is 2.5 grams, which isn't too bad either. But again, you're getting up there at that point. Right. The sat fat is important to keep low. My energy is just tanking. Well, she said she was going to only email me or so on, but it would be inappropriate for us to be like pen pals, right? 100%. Well, I feel it would be inappropriate. right? But she's one of the angels, and so is the other one. To your new assignments. Ah, they're angels. That's why I was teaching them don't say bye. Right. So they say God bless when I say it. I goes, don't say bye when after they say it. And they go, God bless. See ya. Take care. God bless. Go with God. Right. Well, bye. It's ugly. Bye. Goodbye and bye is ugly. Especially if you're a missionary. Right. It's just too final. Right. You have to just say something like, see ya. God bless. Big smiles, people. Larry the missionary teacher, instructor. Larry the president of the missionaries. I could have been. Right. Ruined my life. Could have been a rabbi. Could have been general of the IDF. Ruined my life. Right. Well, I'm non-violent. I don't will anything. Right. The planet's supposed to take care of you based upon the credit you earn. I earn plenty of credit. I never got enough. Right. No, this is a downed life for me because my credit is worth billions. Right. Probably trillions in reality. I mean, if Elon's credit's worth billions, then mine's definitely worth trillions. Like every once in a while, I end up on Threads or something. I think is what it is, and then like they like say stuff about Elon and Trump, and I'm like, what? I'm like, I think I'm still on X. It's just like propaganda, right? But of course, Trump has propaganda too. So, right? Thanks, Larry. Like Trump's ready to trounce Elon. But Elon does have to do a stay away thing and keep a low profile, right? They'll snipe them if they see him. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Thank you, Larry. Thanks, Larry. I didn't mean that physically, but that could be a cue. That came up before physically. I meant that, metaphysically, right? So I ended up getting this black suit I didn't have to pay for the jacket. Amazon I got to pay like $53 for the pants. So I got the suit. I like have another one ordered because I didn't think this was going to happen. I was going to cancel it, but I don't feel like I should because they gave me this, they gave me the suit jacket for free, and I feel guilty, So the other suit is like it's a great deal too. I mean, it's like if I were to buy a suit like that here, it'd be at least $150, between 150 and 200, depending where I buy it. Right. And they gave it to me for like a little over 100. But if I combine it with the other one, it's like $75 or I guess $80 per suit. That's a pretty good deal. Right. This suit's black, so it's just I don't know what my church attendance is going to be like if I get back. I mean, there were signs that I might be going back to church, like my health might come back a little bit, but I don't know. Right. Oh, but she said Messiah 3, and the whole thing was like I asked God the question. I said, God, should I keep this suit or should I give it back? I don't know what to do. So God's like, the Book of Mormon, the Bible. Look in there. That's the answer. And I'm looking. I'm like, it doesn't make sense, God. It's not making sense. So it's all about like people that are like that have received information and they're giving it out to the people. To giving God's information to the people and leading the people and all that. So then she goes, Messiah 3. We're going to study Messiah 3, and that's what's in the beginning of that book. And Messiah receives information and gives it to the people or something like that. I'm like, ah. Well, I feel guilty because they gave me the jacket for free. It kind of worked weird. Like I wasn't going to ask them again because last time I asked them it was just aggravation. And they didn't do it for me. So this morning, I got this idea. Go and you just make sure you call something that makes you call Amazon so it doesn't look like you're scamming. So I tried to because I didn't want to just do it through chat. I wanted to make sure there was a phone call. And it didn't give me the option at first. So I'm like, right? Because I don't want the because they'll get on the wiretap. Go, oh, there's no evidence on the wiretap that he's trying to do something honest. This looks dishonest. He's trying to do something dishonest. So I told her, and I said, she goes, don't worry, don't call us. You don't have to call us. We refunded the money. If you find the jacket, it's yours. Right. I said, oh, that's outstanding. So I updated them. I said, well, I found somebody that would help me look for it. Last time they hem and hawed and I just didn't do it. Right. Right. So I kind of feel guilty that I got this black suit and, for, not free, but for 50 something dollars. I mean, I just feel like I owe them a purchase. Right. These are suits separate, so you don't have to tailor them. Right. And black, in the summer is probably a little bit dark. Right. It gets real hot. I don't know. I was going to call my brother and ask him, but he didn't answer the phone. Well, look, I'm not going to probably teach anybody anything. And I just, I've already told people everything I know, everything God told me generally. Right. Well, there's probably LDS people that were investigating me and never got me to the LDS, even though they know I should have been there. No, I almost cried. I was like, the inner cry story when I said, I'm giving you, I'm going to do traveling mercies. That means, safety. Pray for you for safety to going to your new assignments. I was like, the rainbow. No, that was a theme early on. That was an advanced party. I'm an advanced party for the angels. Because now it's set up a certain way. Well, because they gain from all the hassle I had in my life, because now they're born into certain families and live certain lives, so that God's not. To a certain degree, God was fooled. I know that seems strange to all of you, but God's an innocent creation. So, like when I come to the earth, I go, God, they're lying. What? I don't know how it all works, but that kind of thing happened. Well, because God believes you. The good people are getting rewarded and the bad people are being punished. But it's, they'll call evil good, good evil. And goes, oh, it's that part. We're there. I didn't say it like that, but that's God in me making that joke. Thanks, Larry. That's why I have this information. Right. I have all that information I've had. I could do what I did because I'm an angel. I'm not like just any angel. I'm like the angel that's God's best friend, which is really weird, but no, wait, even before God's friend, even before I knew that, I'm like standing there and God's like, look, you can't pick your friends, right? He's like, you're my friend and I'm your friend, and that's the way it is. And then later he's like, this is you. And God, it's just God's friend. It was an angel. I guess it's a Raguel. Right? I have several names. It doesn't matter to me. None of this matters because I told God it's really stupid because we're all equal, right? Except for you, right? But it's just a mechanism so that I can do my spiritual work here. Right. I'm like God's advisor to a certain degree, but again, it's God. God saying all the information comes from God anyway. But God goes, okay, I didn't know that. God can call us Himself not to know something, so you could tell it to Him. So I was God's right hand man. Actually, Jesus is the right. I think I'm the left. Let me see. Well, the righteous and justice and righteousness. Jesus is righteousness. I'm justice. Right. That's why I stumble sometimes. Thank you, Larry. I guess he did too. Yeah, Jesus just reminded me. He stumbles too. He yells at he's not allowed to overturn the temple. Okay, it's not just. It is just actually on this planet, but he's not supposed to overturn the temple. Right? It's a sin. Thank you, Larry. Well, when I figured that out, Jesus says, "Yeah, I could have did that better, huh?" Okay. So again, but see but you have to understand the Bible, the importance of all the words and all the things. It's the effectuations of his heart. He was possessed to it. That's how that happened. Like, don't possess the Son of God because it'll overturn your temple. Right? Oh my God. Thank you, Larry. No, you can watch Jesus sin several places in the Bible. God showed me. And he says, but I judge the effectuations of the heart. It wasn't his desire to sin. So again, it helps you understand how God judges and everything. I had all that information. Right? God told me, like, there's a scripture where because I'm the seventh angel, I can judge. I said, nope, not me. I don't judge. You do. I can witness things to you, but I can't judge. Right? Don't believe it. You don't judge Christians or angels or Gentiles or Jews, or you don't judge anything. Remember that part. Thanks, Larry. No, I mean, maybe you made some mistakes because you read it in the scripture, but you should wake up one day and go, wait a minute, you're supposed to judge, not me. Right? I still have some of that strange feeling on the right side of my face that I thought was from a sinus infection. Every doctor was like, oh, it's a sinus infection. No, it isn't. My cranial tissues are crushing my entire head and organs. Oh my God. Right. That's why I lost that hearing, probably. Again, if I had stayed in massages, my life would have been way different. Right. She's pretty good. I knew she was, the first time she massaged me, I knew she was different. She was like, like her fingers would go, I'm like, ah. She like finds it. How you doing? So she's a great massage therapist. She's pricey. It's like $130 for an hour. She charged me, I think, $115. She gave me like a discount for today, or hour and a half for $130. So it's usually I get an hour and a half for like $90. I imagine if I looked around, I might be able to find somebody that's kind of like that. But she was like going to my chest, which I needed. People did that in Santa Fe. Like, the people in Santa Fe were great. They just turned evil. Right? They're like brand new massage therapists. Now this woman, what was her name? Shelby, at Massage Envy over here at at the Point. She said new people are some of the best massage therapists because they're so conscientious about it and they're studying. And the funny part was, like, right before she said that, which is giving of her, I thought to myself, she's just like the new one. She knows all this stuff. She's really good, right? So she actually complimented herself when she said it, and I told her that. She's pretty good. She'll press you into the floor or into the bed, but she only does it at 1 hour. So you have to pick like my legs or my upper body or something, which I don't mind because I used to do 2 hours. Right. I'm just, running out of money kind of thing. I'm surprised I'm not in more debt than I am. On an iPhone, it doesn't matter what hearing aid you have, it has a Find My thing, right? Because all you need is for the Bluetooth item to link to a GPS. I don't even know why Signia didn't do that, right? Oh, it's nice out here. Whew. Well, if she keeps massaging me, I might hopefully heal a little better. I knew they were missing spots. And she was also stretching me, like pulling and bending and stretching, and right. I knew I needed it. I'm afraid to do it because I don't want to mess my back up. Because I stretched in Tyler, and that's when my back started hurting again. Right. Because my hamstrings need to be released, and I told him that. I kept saying to my brother, "There's like this thing they talk about where it's like an allergic reaction, and your legs get tight, and it pulls your back down." I just everybody's like an idiot, right? Because they cursed me. If they didn't curse me, I'd have found somebody and went bing, bang, bing, and it'd have been over, right? Plus, they psychologically operate. Well, it's like a witch's coven driving around you all day. That's what it is. That's what the government is, a witch's coven driving around people all day, cursing them to hell and worse. Why would we do that? Why would we do that? Get out of here. I blessed and healed everybody for years. Decades, actually. And I still do it. Still heal people. I just can't move one direction or the other on that suit. Right. I think it's God. I think God wants me to buy it. It's a blue plaid suit. Looks pretty nice. Reminds me of the first suit I think I bought after the Army was like I interviewed at the BOP was like a blue pinstripe, but it wasn't like a dark blue. It was like almost like a heather blue. This one actually, for some reason, J.C. Penney calls it the Prince of Wales suit. But again, having just one suit and being black, I don't know. I don't know if that'll work. But again, if I buy two, it'll be $150 for two suits. That's not a bad deal. It's a great deal, actually. or 100, I guess 155 or something. Right. So it's like at the most $80 per suit. I mean, they're good suits. They're Hagar. They're not like big, but I bought Hagar ones in the Marshal Service because you could get the suit separates, and they're already sized. Right. At least I'll have a suit for. Like I said, God wanted me to have a suit for the baptismal, which didn't quite work out. But I had my blazer from the Marshal. I still have my blue blazer from the Marshal Service. And a pair of Hagar trousers, black trousers, and a nice tie. Nice tie for $7.99 from TJ Maxx. God stashed it there. I was getting ready to buy one from Kohl's, and God was like, it was like $20, and I guess I get 15% off. But God was like, "Yeah, we'll buy one later." And like almost the same one, but nicer, was over at TJ Maxx. Well, I don't know. God might want me to wear a blue suit on this Sunday. Well, they're going to give me the Aaronic priesthood and all that, right? I have to get a number. They have to give me a number so I can tithe, right? They're saying I can't tithe my Social Security portion of my income, which I think it's probably doable, right? To do the other portion. Right. It's like generally it's like 50% or something. Well, because isn't there like a test for that, right? Because maybe no, they changed it. I think I got to check to see if they changed the regulations. So they did. Now you can do some things with it. Right? I was a backer of changing it a bit because I said, especially for women, women in HUD housing and women in Social Security, they just, you have to be alone. You have to be like you have to be alone or you lose all your money. Right? Didn't make any sense. Correct. Like my wife couldn't get anything. She was 100% disabled, but she couldn't get anything when I was married to her. So she probably got the 100% disability, right? Plus, I let her have everything from the car accident that she was in, which I would do that in a heartbeat. I'm not like that, right? And I called her up and said, "Can you come to Jim Spicer's? Let's talk." And that night, like she's screaming on the phone, and like Jim's like, "Get the phone, get the phone." And his wife's like, "Get the phone, Sarah." She's going crazy. She goes, "Oh, that's it, Larry. Your gay boyfriend called me." I'm like, "Gay boyfriend? I don't have any friends, gay or not." Right. Jim Spice is the only guy I know. Hey, Jim. Hey, now. Thanks, Larry. So I don't know if it was the government or it was her boyfriend. My wife's not the brightest bulb in the bunch. I mean, at that point she had been so drugged and everything from all the accident and everything. Correct, Larry. But so I don't know who it was. Maybe the government knows who it was because they were monitoring. So it might be in a report somewhere. Correct. Well, I mean, but at that point he was still living in my house. I mean, it was a nice house. I got a great deal on that place. That's what pisses him off. What pissed him off when they went to the next level. I made it around their block and got a house. I had no idea they were doing that. I thought it was just racism, right? Because my wife was Korean. I thought they would be because I knew something was up with that house. They wouldn't extend it to us, right? But deep state and all that, right? So I got this house. It was a great deal, right? Great builder out, I guess, Lancaster County, I think. Right? It had been sitting there was like a model, I mean, it wasn't. I did some work in it with trim, made it look real nice. We got a big table from I think Montgomery Ward, beautiful cherry table, but like real big for like Sundays, when bringing people over from church, right? New people, we invite them, if we were close enough to, we invite them to lunch. Actually, yeah, they killed us. I still didn't know it like a lot when I left the government. I just thought it was a couple jerks, right? And that's what they bank on. All I do is let my life be and let me go to church, it worked. And they knew it. That's why they blocked church. Right. Now, hopefully my health comes back enough where I can go to church comfortably. Right. Is that a frog that just jumped in the water? What is that? I think it's a frog. It went boom, like bullfrog. What's it doing? Is it like fishing? Look, it went underwater. Bullfrog is fishing. So I was talking to the dude. He's like, "What was it? What, you had PTSD?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what anxiety was. I just couldn't see it." Right? It's like with my wife. I feel so horrible at some of the, some of the spats we had. But I wasn't abusive. She was, right? And but I had PTSD, and I should have just did that with the government. I should just went to the VA and said I got PTSD and the other stuff, right? Anxiety and all that. They would have paid me. But again, you can't till you can because these bums were cursing me. Right? I was so paranoid about saying anything about that after that thing happened. I mean, I didn't get committed, but the temporary hold, and I didn't want to energize that thing ever again. Right? Mother was nuts. So as soon as I get in there, she wants me out of there, and they're telling her it doesn't work like that. Right? And she got rid of that guy. Destroyed her credit cards and ordered all new credit cards. But I know what he was doing. He was giving her a good feeling. Happened in my life. A couple women gave me a good feeling, young girls. Right. So I was a kid. I was drinking a beer right before I went in the army. Over by the woods. And the girl's giving me a good feeling. Next thing a cop pulls up. And she's still giving me a good feeling when the cops. Like it's a transmission, I should have tried to get with that girl. I guess it was just a weird world. My father just ruined everything. Like I live with this girl. Like we're just friends, I wasn't even friends with her. I was with other people, and I was like trying to figure out how to get anywhere. Because my stepfather went nuts again. And right. And my mother actually got rid of him after that. But like they divorced. Right. But I was living with this girl. And like I never, like for me, again, it was God. It wasn't me because I don't judge people. But she was pretty. She may even had like STDs and stuff. I don't know. We didn't have sex. We slept in the same bed. Didn't have sex. And we were friendly. And like all of a sudden, one day I'm drinking a beer, and she's like giving me a good feeling. And like I didn't know anything when I was a kid. I didn't know anything when I was 40 either. It took a little while for me to figure it out. It's a spiritual transmission, right? So the whole time the cops write me a ticket, I'm like, yee. Not because of the booze, because of this girl. I guess I'll meet her in heaven. She's probably dead by now. I mean, unless her life turned around, right? It was funny. Then I left there at a certain point. That's when I started going living in the house, right? Well, it was like we were with like some people, and the people left, and I was there in her room, and she wasn't like young. No, she was out of school, and I think and all that, right? But they're probably like 18 or something, and I was like 20 or something, I guess. Right? So a cop wrote me a ticket for the citation for the booze, right? Nice cop. I mean, I didn't have that many interactions with cops. He's real nice, young guy. Yeah, real nice. Write me a ticket. But he was nice about it. He just wasn't judgmental. He's like, dump it out. Thanks, Larry. So I guess we lived like a couple weeks together alone or something. I don't know. Her mother was downstairs. It's a big house. They had like a big house. I guess her bedroom was on the top floor. It's just weird, right? Transmit good feeling and sway you, right? I called it the pee power when I finally woke up. I mean, you got when you finally wake up, you're like, oh my god, they played me my whole life. Well, see, for God, all He wanted was like a basic life for me. I mean, at a minimum. So if I would have had that minimum life, things would have went way different for the planet. Right. Look, having some money that they burn because they keep attacking you is not a life. Right. And I'm not rich or anything by any stretch of the imagination. You know, the government kept me from church, from all religious institutions as they could. Well, like the one guy that finally said something, and I said, "That's it, I'm out of here." He's only one of a whole bunch. I mean, I don't think he was quote unquote part of it. He could have been. He was the chief, like cook guy there. He was a musician, but he was also the cook, one of the cooks. He was like a caterer type, but we would cook on Sundays, and I'm just, I'm just talking to some woman who's working. Like he opened up a bar, or not a bar, or like a restaurant at this one place where there was massage and some other stuff. And they had, it's a small town, and they made a deal, and I'm just talking to her because like she's a single mother, and I just do that. I talk to single mothers. If you need something, let me know. Because when I was a kid, that's how my life was. My mother was a single mother until she met the jerk who probably messed up my life even further. But right, but there were a man like the big men in the neighborhood, or in Philadelphia. There was a Detective Burke, and there was a lawyer Silverman, and they would handle stuff for my mother. But they were they were big men, and then Rabbi Sanders, he was a big man, right? So they would help my mom every so. People in Beth Jacob helped my mom. We didn't pay full tuition at Beth Jacob because she was a widow, right? Like was that? So they always, projecting their self on me. Like, what would I be doing if I'm right now? I'd be trying to hit on that young girl. No, I'm just, if you need a ride. And he just said a bunch of unflattering things. And I'm thinking, like, right. So I said, that's it. So one day he comes by and he puts like a food tray at my door. And I'm thinking, like, I'm going to eat that. I know the CIA's been connected to your organization. And at this point, I don't know who you are. 100%, Larry. Yeah, CIA was connected to the sex cult. Imagine that, right? That's how they rule them, right? Do what we say, or everybody knows you're a sex cult. Right. That's how dirty the world is, man. So I'm like, forget this. Well, because every time I turn around, they act like I'm trying to hit on a woman. And like I said, I knew their guy was the one that was actually having sex with the women. Right. 100%. You got to tell me about his Studley ventures. So I'm thinking, like for him, it's okay that he does it because I guess the girl was like 24, and he's in his 20s somewhere, probably maybe a couple of years older, and the whole thing was that it's okay for him to do it because he's not like some 40-year-old manager in their organization, because that's what happened to her. She went to Virginia where they have a presence, and somebody that was a senior guy was hitting having sex with her, right? And that's before everybody knew it was a sex cult. Thanks, Larry. And it's like, but he's, of age, the appropriate age to have sex with her. I'm just like, yeah, okay. And like, I'm like the innocent guy in this, because like I'd see her and I'm like, oh, how are you doing? Because I feel bad now for her because they took advantage of her sexually. But I'm not going to seek her out. So I'm cooking my derriere up. I'm working hard and I'm putting food out, doing all this stuff. And she comes by and she knows me as a good guy. I don't even remember how many conversations. We didn't have all that many, but she knows me as a good guy and she feels comfortable around me because I'm a good guy, right? I'm not trying to have, she knows when somebody's trying to have sex with her and somebody is not, right? I'm the guy that's not trying to have sex with her. Right. But she's living with this guy, Harry. And, I guess Harry was accused of being a crook and then made a deal with the Justice Department and they dropped the charges, I guess. So she's living with Harry and his wife. So Harry's sitting there and this other guy's sitting there or standing there and I'm sitting there because I'm working. I just happen to be by them. And then she walks over and she's just talking to me. So I start talking to her. I forget what I was saying. And she really likes me because why? Because I'm not trying to have sex with her. Right. Thank you, Larry. So Harry goes, too young. I'm like, what? You're going to say this in front of her? Because like I didn't want to say anything. I didn't even know what to say. I'm like, what? Thanks. Like, meanwhile, they're like person out in Virginia's had sex with her, and now this other guy's having sex. Oh, it's not too young for the 28-year-old to have sex with her, right? Meanwhile, you're like, we're all virgins, yoga virgins here. I guess Harry's dead. Harry's probably dead. He's probably around me somewhere. Oh, there's the beep beep. Harry's dead. He's around me. So like I see this woman when I'm at solstice. And she's gorgeous, really. But problem is she had a birthmark, and I don't know why it wasn't taken care of. I mean, they probably had money to deal with it. I don't know what happened there, right? And by the time I see her again, it's like how many years later? Let's see, 2005 to probably 2000. When did they get to? About 13, I guess. But now the birthmark's really like huge on her face. So again, maybe it's a mole, actually, not a birthmark, a mole, right? Now it like takes like immense plastic surgery, right? And but I go on like a date, not a date, but we did lunch. But Mother Mary, Mother Mary called me. I gotta go. Or I would have been with them the whole time. I would have went to the. What would have happened is I would have went to the. There was an Indian person that was hosting anybody that wanted to go from the solstice for. I think it was the Indian person for Christmas. So I did Christmas with them, and then of course I went to California. I would have drove straight to Espanola, right? And then I would have been with them 2005 on. Oh my God. Correct. Again, you have to understand these are sins against the holy God, right? Oh, they already tried setting me up and everything. This doctor dude and his wife come in, sit next to me in the yoga line, and he's like, "Oh, I can't believe you said that." Didn't say a thing to him. And I just moved my spells. Yeah, not spells, but healing and they call it spells. show you how far. Maybe that's what happened. I stopped moving all that magic. That's how they got me. Right? Thank you, Larry. Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. Oh my God. something saw something. Thanks, Larry. Well, the gods are actually like Michael W. Smith. He took the right. He said the right things in that song. Before the gods, I shall worship you, or something like that. Right? Which allows the gods to at least be neutral. I mean, maybe he doesn't know they're good guys. Like anybody there's devils that they call gods on this planet, right? But real gods are servants of the Most High God. Right? It's just like being an angel. So Michael W. Smith was the first Christian that ever mentioned the gods to begin with. And then he said, before the gods I shall worship you. But he may not understand what he's saying. They're actually a higher level servant of God. But of course, we're all equal. So I left that place, and like I said, I got to I got to San Antonio. My Blanco was kaput. Right. I mean, it could drive. So the dude's like, "Well, your catalytic converter is no good. I can cut it out and put a pipe in." I said, "Do it." I got it to California. And I get there. That started real well, and then just went weird. Correct, sir. I got involved. LAPD sold out. Thank you, Larry. And then I got in great shape, and then I got to, like you see me in that video with the Volkswagen, I was in great shape. I was actually going to go to Afghanistan. I was going to leave the Marshal Service and get back in the Army. But when they found that out, they attacked me. But I told Jim Working. And, of course, at that point, they may have actually had listening devices, right? Or even cameras. We don't know, right? Part of what happened, one of the things that happened is, okay, so me and Drew's like, okay, somebody's looking at porn out here in the main room, right? And because it came up on somebody had perused it. So he said, what should we do? I was like, I don't know. I guess, we got to try to figure out who's doing it, I guess. Thanks, Larry. And thank you, Larry. So what we did was, DEA gave us a clock radio that had a camera in it. So him and I figured out who it was. And we're like, I don't want to ruin this guy's career. No, neither do I. But I think what happened was, I think we told him to do a general announcement, don't be using the computers upstairs after hours or something. I forget what we said, right? We figured out who it was, right? But I think what happened is they got mad and tried to ruin us, right? Because we had dirt on somebody, but I don't use it like that, right? So I think that's part of it too. I think we actually promoted the dude. Did we? I can't remember. No, actually, that was Mac. It was a cop. They're all retired cops. We probably should have just did that anyway, right? Not even did the DEA camera thing. The DEA gave us a clock radio. We find out who was looking at porn in the big room at night. We just hushed it up and sent some like command down, thou shalt not use the computers in the big room after hours, right? And don't be browsing illegal stuff or unlawful or not unlawful. Right? Well, like if I sat down with Drew right now, we'd be like, how stupid we were. I mean, everybody else is like having sex, including Karen Shelton. We're gonna like some poor guy looking at porn, right? How naive we were. Like, I think judges were paranoid because I saw that, like, I'd be around all different hours because I go to the gym and then go back to the courthouse, stuff like that, right? And it's like I saw judges like if you just look at me normal, I won't know. That's why one judge never chewed me out for chewing gum in his court. Like, I stopped after I knew he didn't like it, but I think he's like, oh, this guy got dirt on me. But I'm not like that, you know. Oh, thanks, Larry. No, because they come driving out with the clerk in the car, you know, the female clerk, and I'm like, and they're looking at me like, I'm like, look, relax, just don't look at me like that because I don't want to know. Thanks, Larry. Like, I just want to do my job. Leave me be. Don't show up like that. Just smile, look at me and wave and drive out. Don't stop and go, he sees us. The courthouse is so like in law enforcement, you're cursed, you know, and you know a lot of stuff happens. But the part that gets us is we're cursed by our coworkers, right? That shouldn't happen, all right? And then we'd be okay, you know. I'm not going to tell you what judge it was. Somebody that's happened, right? They pay people like Shelton may have hired him. So, but again, I'm a witness. Once I wake up, they're like, oh, don't worry about it. So tell me that in the after what? On Facebook now. Same people, man. Same people. Same kind of people. Right. Corrupt law enforcement. Yeah, the sexualized content of children on Facebook is horrible. I never saw it before now. So somebody's trying to do me right now. Whoever it is, put sexualized, like using the sexualized content. Right. So they put sexualized content. I start clicking on it. I go, something's up here. Click, 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 click. Next thing you know, there's kids. I'm like, there they are. It's not naked, but it's sexualized. Same issue. Actually, I think it's illegal because sexualized content, even though they're not nude, I think it's still illegal. Right. We agree, Larry. I guess but if you complain, they'll go, "Well, it's beauty contest." Like a mother, I'm like, it's like this Thai kid, and she does like beauty contest, but then like she's walking out to the vehicle, and like I don't know if it's like her grandpa or what. This dude's like looking at her, and she's walking sexy, and I'm like, what? And her mother's like talking to her, hey, and they're laughing, and I'm like, what? Most mothers in the United States would smack it for walking like that, but it's like they teach the kid to walk like that. Again, it's like John Benet Ramsey, which makes me think I got to heal this kid. Thank you. Yeah, healed. Because it keeps coming up John Benet Ramsey, which everybody knows she's dead, right? She was killed, so it could happen with her. And like this dude's just like looking at her. I'm like, is he like looking at her or looking at her? Are they having sex for there? And like I get like intelligence from it because I can hear. And like because they cursed me to be a pedophile. I hear, well, you go to Asia, and you have sex with girls like that everywhere. Because it wouldn't be opened up to me unless they whammied me, right? But then like before, this time it said Asia, before it said in the United States, right? So I don't know if you cleared some of that stuff out. Did you find any like Asian and Latino sex rings, like child sex rings? Because it didn't come up this time. It came up in Asia. Maybe they're afraid now. Maybe they actually say, oh, no, make sure he doesn't hear that. Thanks, Larry. Thank you, Larry. This time it was different. It was from Facebook, right? Last time, where did I hear it from? I can't remember where I heard it from. What was the connection? It may have been X. It may have been on X. This time it was on Facebook. This time they tell me to go to Asia. Go to Asia, sex all day long. No, I'm too old. I was actually gonna marry. I should have just went, I guess, but I just couldn't get there. They actually, the deep state toyed with me. Like when I try to think about going to Asia, they'd pop up a few women stateside, which would of course be easier, right? But they were all like bait women, right? Yeah, I should just married any Asian girl, and I was trying to like, well, I want one that's like not too young, and should have said first one, let's go, and that's it. The thing that really killed it was this: in the United States, you can't have them visit you. Like you can send them money and have them visit you, but you can't do that in the United States. You actually have to go visit them, and then right. So that's what sucked. Because you'd have them visit you and then send them back, and then at a certain point apply for a marriage. Thanks, Larry. That's real. Actually, some guy told me I actually talked to a lawyer because I was going to do a bankruptcy. And I said to the lawyer, I said, should I bankruptcy? And I was thinking of going to like Philippines or something. He goes, no, if you don't bankruptcy, if you're going to Philippines, just go to Philippines. And I probably should have bankruptcy. I think it would have actually been the same thing. Like I cleared my credit. like 7 years later or something. Anyway, right. Wait, it's nice out tonight. I think maybe I'm healing a little bit. I don't know. We'll have to see. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. No, there's no way you should have treated me like you did here. I mean, it's felony crime. The way you treated me is felony crime. Thanks, Larry. Thank you, friend. Thank you. Sure, sir. God bless you. Well, what came up is I didn't realize it, that it was saying things that like nobody knew. They tried to say it was like a Ouija board. I'm like, it's a Ouija board. God told me to do it. Get away from me. God said, open the Bible, and the first thing you read will be your answer. And it happened. Like tonight, it was like, oh God, it's not working. Oh my God, you can't get my answer. Should I buy this suit or not? God, should I return it and like cancel the order? And then, so when I get to the Bible study or the Book of Mormon study with the missionaries, it was like it was the topic. It was a similar topic, right? Like God tells me to go like the heavy Christians. The next thing I know, I'm talking about Jesus. I'm talking about Jesus, and that's before I knew Srila Prabhupada like accepted Jesus. Srila Prabhupada actually accepted Jesus. Oh my God. No, I don't know. People say you have to be baptized, and you have to be LDS, and that's okay. I understand it, but and God may require it, because they may be some good people, right? Well, because it's the effectuations of the heart more than the scripture you have. I mean, you can get into the scripture and say this is Book of Mormon and it's this that, and the thing. What I think I really do believe the Book of Mormon is speaking about a different dimension, but it's the United States. It is this place. It's the spiritual dimension, I believe. So I believe the Book of Mormon speaks about the spiritual dimension in reference to this place. This location again, like Turtle Island, like you hear the Native Americans talk about the Lakota, talk about Turtle Island. Turtle Island isn't here. Turtle Island is in the spiritual domain. So, well, they can go back to Turtle Island if they want, and once they get to the afterlife. Again, there's a lot to do in the afterlife. Well, if God finds that they're not judgeable, then they're not judged. Okay, so here's the thing: if you're Mormon, again, they're saying Mormon, LDS, does God have the right to do what He wants? That's the first real test. So if God says, "Okay, I think I'm gonna save this person over here." Well, I know they're Native American and they worship Zool, but you think maybe I could be Zool? Believe me, you have no idea who God is. But again, the Mormon, see, they're getting me to say Mormon. You're not supposed to be Mormon. You're supposed to be Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But it fits the afterlife model. But a lot of what it says, God has already showed me how to read it. Right. Well, you'll find yourselves so you open up and your inner cries, you're more empathic. So when you look at somebody that didn't have a chance in life, but they never accepted this and never did that, you'll be like looking at God like, can we bring them to the exalted state of the celestial heaven, God, please? Because I've already went through this. Like I said, God showed me the afterlife in my last, since I left the Mormon service. Kind of, God said you would have died here just like Luna, but I kept you alive. God told me that from the beginning. I knew that part of it. So what happened is I was experiencing the afterlife. So, I'm really empathic. You'll see, like, people saw me cry and laugh, and so I'm empathic, and like all a bunch of stuff's happening with God. Right. Right. That's really what I think is going to happen. And then, of course, what do you do? What would you do when you get there? What do you think you would want to do? What if you heard from Earth? You'd probably come back here, right? Right. There's also spiritual realms or spiritual dimensions on Earth where the ghosts are and where the spirits are. Well, there's people there that need to get off the planet, they need to get saved, and so there's a lot to do. And the part to remember is, let God lead it, because God will go easy on some people, and that's just the way it is. Right. Now you just right. Well, because God's justice is immense, and again, it's God's will that none should perish. Always remember that. That's one of the keys in the scripture that that you should see. Well, then none will perish. That's why the Mormon, again, I don't know why Mormon keeps coming up, but Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints keeps has that information about everybody getting saved. Because if it's God's will, it's going to happen someday. Right. Well, God tried to bring it on sooner, and I tried several movements to bring it on sooner, but I couldn't get it up. If I had a real life, I probably could have. Right. Because planetary credit plays in, and I don't have a lot of money. Right. Well, if you look at the exact words in the Bible about, I think it's in Revelation, burning, and we actually did read some of that tonight from the Book of Mormon. But if you read about the exact words in the Bible, it's actually I believe the metaphysics will burn in a lake of fire. Thanks, Larry. Because that's the possession is really what causes people to do all that. Thank you, Larry. So the God of the mind, God of this world binds our mind lest they see the glorious gospel of Jesus Christ. So that's a cue. It's God's will that none should perish. It's another cue. If God judges that you're incapable of being saved based upon what comes against you on this planet, and that's a metaphysic, then you're forgiven, just like the kids, right? So, well, he didn't. I don't think the Book of Mormon addressed the spiritually blind, but it does address innocent children, right? Thank you, Larry. Well, again, the idea is that God can add to the Book of Mormon if he wants to. The same way God added the Book of Mormon to the Bible. So again, it's already, so it is actually part of the teachings of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that God can add. Again, they have seers, right, and prophets, so they understand that, right? So God could come along and just say, "Hey, I'm going to save everybody. that is spiritually blind. And again, God extended that after he taught me that. He extended it to those that, can't get out of their own way, because they're essentially, some people aren't completely spiritually blind, but they're spiritually blind to a certain part of it, of how to get out of something. Right. And how to get to something. Again, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints speaks about people, striving to, perfect themselves, so they understand that concept. Correct, sir. 100% correct. So again, the basic idea is that God is in control, and if God changes something, then God changes something. Right. So this is something even before I knew the LDS stuff. There's a combination of things that God instructed me in, and part of it is that there's other dimensions. Well, I know Jesus is in the spiritual dimension. Like I've seen him as an apparition or as a vision, but Jesus is in. But I know for sure that he's a physical, has a spirit body, a physical spirit body, or I guess it's not physical, but a form, right, in the spiritual dimension of Earth. And he does work there, spiritual work, and tries to get people saved. But it's a rapture type thing, where they get raptured. So if you're in the afterlife here, if you stay on the planet, if Jesus is around, you can see him physically, not as like an apparition or a spirit or a ghost. Thank you, Larry. No, they wouldn't let me live a peaceful day. They were trying to use their psychological torture to. They were getting paid a lot of money to do it, and they did it. No, it's not just a bunch of kids making a mess of my life because I'm the pedophile or whatever it is they try to say. Again, I told you what was going on when I was in Santa Fe, and those people showed up in that ghost organization. They're just one of many, right? Cops aren't going to investigate it past that immediate group of people, right? Tell you what, I love beans and rice. I just do. I just don't know if it loves me. Right? I don't know if I can eat that much fiber right now, so I have to be careful. But I love the flavor of beans and rice. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.